It's the Go Mike podcast where the mic is golden. This is a podcast. I'm your host, Mark Paul, and today we got Little Keply. All right, now I first learned about Little Keply about a few months ago when he was on No Jumper and he interviewed with Almighty Suspect and Sharp. And from the beginning of that video, it was like they was on him. You know what I'm saying? They were ready to pretty much punk the little dude. And that's exactly what they did. They started the interview telling him to take off his jacket. He had on like a fur coat. I guess in his mind, that's the image of a pimp. He know he's trying to portray being a pimp, so he went out and bought a rabbit fur coat just for the No Jumper interview. And when Sharp seen him with that coat, he was on him. He was like, man, before we get this started, take this jacket off, you know? But Keply didn't take it off, you know? When I first seen that, I was like, this motherfucker bet not take off this jacket. He better not take off this jacket, and he didn't. You know what I'm saying? He stood firm and kept the jacket on, you know? But throughout the interview, it was almost as if Sharp and Almighty Suspect was double teaming him. You know what I'm saying? Just going back and forth, trying to tear into the dude. And I get why. I understand why. Supposedly Sharp and Almighty Suspect are either pimps or former pimps, you know? So they've been in that life and they've been in that game and they understand the rules, regulations, and guidelines of that game, you know? Lil Keply, on the other hand, he's a 19-year-old, half white, half Hispanic boy from Orange County that never had any type of pimp influence other than watching Sharp and other pimps on YouTube. And with that being said, him trying to portray the image of a pimp is bogus. So I kind of get why they were on him like that. I was going to do a reaction video on it, but then I was like, nah, let me sit back. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of here and here on it. I don't, you know, so I didn't ever speak on it. But one thing I did notice in that video about Sharp was that he was just going big. You know what I'm saying? And only other time you see Sharp going big is when he's talking to a female. You know, I know he liked to say that, you know, we don't watch his videos when he's not screaming on on females, but you know, that's what we see of him. We always see this dude screaming on bitches, and it's like, bruh, would you do that to a man? You know? So here's Lil Keply come up, and Lil Keply is what, a 19-year-old boy? He don't know shit. Look frail as a motherfucker. He look like if you give him a good 1-2 punch, he gonna fall out. You know what I'm saying? So you know he don't have the experience or the whereabout of pretty much anything. You know, apparently he got 2 sluts that he, you know, walk around with, and that's supposed to be his hoes. But from what everybody say, them bitches is dirty. You know what I'm saying? The bitches is horrible, you know, and as a pimp, if your bitches, you are a reflection of your hoes. Now, if your hoes is raggedy, then your pimping is raggedy, pretty much. But that's not what we're going to talk about here. We're going to talk about Little Keply making another appearance on No Jumper, you know, and we actually have a video as well. So let's get into the video. There's the video. Now let's go.
Coolest podcast in the world, and today pretty excited because we have somebody who's making a big splash on the scene.
Yes, sir.
Keply in the
Hello,
building.
Keply.
Define making a big splash on the scene, Adam22. Define making a big splash.
Also known as Kelpy the P. As a matter of fact, you can call me whatever you want, just don't call me broke.
He did not even say that with confidence, and that's the type of stuff why Sharp was going big on him, because he's perpetrating being a pimp. You know what I'm saying? And from a perspective of a real pimp, you know what I'm saying, that's bogus.
That's right.
Out here today.
And then co-hosting with me,
Big Says Garber Displeasure, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, Almighty for the album, because the record too short, you dig what I'm saying? No, the real deal, you know what I'm saying? Holyfield, you know what I'm saying? Not the impersonation.
damn, he just came with a whole little monologue like OJ the Juice. That was fire. Okay, so
That was actually kind of watered down. You know, I've heard lines far better than what he said, but that's far beyond the point.
I wanted to like hop in here
Yeah.
and attempt to, have a conversation that perhaps can build on some of the other conversations that have already happened.
Yeah.
So let's lay this all out. So
Yeah.
you had a very, very viral appearance on Soft White Underbelly.
Yeah.
Tell me what happened. Like, what was your life like in the lead up to that? Why'd you decide to do that?
And that's one thing I failed to mention earlier when I was trying to give background. Sharp and Almighty Suspect seen Kelpy on a channel called Soft White Underbelly, and he was, talking like he was a pimp, and I believe he made statements like talking about like he's some type of old school pimp, or he's old school or something like that. And they say they don't know him on no tracks. So let's get back into the video.
In the lead up to that, I was hustling. I don't want to say specifics, but I was doing a little shit in the streets. And then basically I was like, you know
I
what?
feel like you've already filled this in about what you were doing. in the
Yeah, I mean,
streets.
well, Sharp made some accusations about what I was doing. I don't want to admit or deny those, but
okay.
yeah, basically I was getting money and shit, and then that hustle came to an abrupt end when I got raided. So then I switched into another one because I seen some people that needed help, and I just jumped into the game.
Describe getting raided though.
Oh, well, I was outside vaping and shit, and like, still hustling, and the girls were inside, and basically just got a no-knock raid. They came in, they pulled me outside some undercovers, and they like drew their guns on me and shit like that, put me in the squad car, and then they all just were like inside my house and like, yo, we got a warrant to search your purse.
If you're a Texas...
Now, I don't know how true that is. It can be true, but that's here nor there.
investment credit, which pays homeowners on...
Search your person and your vehicle and your house.
But they were suspicious of you.
Yeah, they were trying to say that I was like, drug dealing or something like that.
Okay. But
And
you don't have a
obviously-
case as a result of this?
Nah, I never heard back from them, honestly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then you decide, like, how did...
All right, so now anytime the police raid you, and if they find something and not arrest you, they're waiting on something bigger. So I wonder if in this raid they got anything illegal from him. So now if they raided and didn't find anything, of course you're not going to hear nothing back. But if they raided and found something and you still didn't hear anything back, oh yeah, they definitely watching you, and they definitely are waiting for you to slip. But let's go.
Soft White Underbelly opportunity even come about?
Well, I've been trying to do some like online stuff and just get that internet money, and also promote my girl's OnlyFans.
Okay.
So basically, check out Crystal Roses on OnlyFans, by the way. She's going up. But no, basically, I was just trying to promote that stuff. So I went on Soft White, talking about my story, and then yeah, that just kind of blew up from there.
So what was the feedback like? Like, what would you describe as the most common comments that you saw in response to the Soft White Underbelly thing that were really driving it being viral?
Oh, just a lot of hateful shit about the way I was dressed, mostly. People was like, and also I feel like they took a lot of the shit I said out of context. Like when I,
If people was tripping on the way you was dressed, you probably looked like a clown. You probably thought in your head, like, let me see, what does a pimp look like? A pimp looks like this, so let me do this. So he went and got a costume to play pimp on Soft White Underbelly. Let's put that into context.
homeless. That was because I just got evicted after the raid. The apartments had like kicked us out with some Section 8 that I was staying in with my family and the girls. So they kicked us out of that, and then a lot of people were like, oh, why is he dressed like a Party City pimp, fake chains and all that? But, you know, it's all real. You know, the outfit, I feel like that's the most thing that people said was...
He definitely looked like a Party City pimp, like one of those pimp costumes that you get from Halloween. He definitely looked like that. But let's go.
Disrespectful, but I was just doing that to get attention. But all my jewelry's legit and stuff.
So,
Been diamond tested.
Suspect, fill me in on that. Like, is there something expected of you before you've earned the stripes to wear certain types of like pimp outfits?
Nah, it wasn't even that. It was like we felt like that shit, like the equivalent for to get everybody to understand, kind of like blackface. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit was kind of like it looked like a costume. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like
I
he
don't
came in
understand
here.
how that's a
He
costume.
came in here wearing that shit like in his head, like, oh, this is what pimps is supposed to look like. I got my little $sign chain, my little fur
I got
coat.
2 of them.
Exactly. All the pimps he seen, that he Googled, the ones that he seen on YouTube and stuff, he was trying to replicate that. And you all know the saying, game recognized game. And people peep game. People probably seen him and was like, what the fuck is this clown wearing? You know what I'm saying? He kind of giving the game a black eye. But let's go.
But
Yeah,
do you feel like, you know, you could have rocked the same fit or something similar?
But I mean, I'm true to this, so of course I could. But that's the
So
same
am I,
thing.
though.
Like I'm blackface. You get what I'm saying? Like
Okay.
it's like wearing blackface.
But
it's like,
but aren't there white pimps at
There
these
is
pimp
white
conventions and
white
shit?
folks. White
Of
folks is a
course.
poppin' ass white pimp.
and you
I
didn't
bet
even
you-
know.
And using that type of analogy is kind of throws it off when you're using black and white when you're talking about race, because that's pretty much all they latched on to was the black or in the white part. Because Adam said, "Isn't there white pimps?" But that's not the point. That was just a poor analogy. A better analogy is, say for instance, there's a gangster rapper who is not in the streets, but he wants to portray the image of a gang member. So he goes, gets some dark blue chucks, get some blue fat laces, a dicky suit, you know what I'm saying, throw on the blue bandana, and come out talking about he's crippin'. So that's the equivalent. Almighty didn't use a good enough analogy for that, but the analogy I just said, that's perfect. It's like somebody playing gangbanger. This guy is playing pimp, so he's trying to look the part, you know?
He
No,
was
no, no.
until right now.
But
until the
I know
new
who he
interview.
is. I know who
we
he
asked
is.
you that last interview. You had no clue.
You didn't
now
ask me
you
about
know
no
who
white
the,
pimps last time.
the nigga Sharp said, you know who the fuck white folks is? You thought.
And you see how he wants to bring up white folks? It's like, come on, man. You know you Googled the dude. You know you Googled, is there any white pimps? And that was the first pimp to pop up, was white folks. White folks is a legendary pimp who happens to be white. He is respected by all around that game. So for him to bring up white folks just randomly to try to validate his pimping is bogus as well, because he's nothing like white folks. It ain't got nothing to do whether he's white or black, you know? But let's go.
I don't. You didn't know who the fuck
He
that
told
was.
me who that was on FaceTime before the interview
Exactly.
happened.
You
Yeah,
didn't
so
know
I did
who white
he
folks
was.
wasn't.
So he found out who white folks was from Sharp. And Sharp is the image that he is using to try to base his pimping off of. So he's pretty much an internet pimp, you know? But let's go.
He informed you.
Until Sharp informed me on a FaceTime before this interview.
Until a pimp informed
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
who white. Exactly.
Well, you
He
know
had
what I'm
no
saying?
clue
There's white
until-
pimps
until
out there.
somebody informed
so I
him
don't get
before
how
his
it's, how it's
interview.
blackface.
You get what I'm
That
saying?
seems like you're bringing up racism where it doesn't need
No,
to
no,
be
no,
brought
no,
up.
no. That was just an analogy to get everybody to understand. I'm not saying that you were doing. It's
You
an
said I was doing
analogy
blackface,
to get
basically.
everybody to understand. Yeah, because you pulled up in a pimp costume.
He was saying it was like blackface, but
put up
is
in
it
a
the fact that
costume.
he's white in general, or is it the fact that he's
But you see how they're caught up in whether he's white or not. Would that validate whether he's really pimping or not? That don't have anything to do with it. What it has to do with this specific guy, Keply, not being of that ilk. It don't have nothing to do with white people. It has everything to do with whether he's from that cloth or not. You know? But let's go.
New in the game.
It's just it's just because he's not really doing that shit in his head. He came,
But I am
like,
really doing
you
that
get
shit.
what
My
I'm saying?
pockets
Like,
will
he
prove
came.
that.
That's like, what's a good analogy? Well, I just gave one, like blackface, but let's do another one, like a nigga
That's not a good analogy.
go to the gym with all the shit. And he looking like he finna ball the fuck up. You feel me? And then when he get the ball, he can't do shit. But he came in his head like, this what ballers look like. I'm gonna get the headband, the socks, and all that shit. You get what I'm saying? Like,
But what
that's
if, what
I'm
if he
saying.
starts learning how to play ball and then he starts balling harder than other motherfuckers?
Right.
Is he still impersonating at that point?
Everybody's a little kid trying
Yeah,
to be
like
Michael
we
Jordan
all
at one
started
point,
somewhere,
right? And then
right?
the next day, boom,
Yeah.
you are Michael
You
Jordan.
gotta crawl before you can walk, bro. So everybody starts somewhere, and I feel like y'all were hating on that because not even
Yeah, you gotta crawl before you can walk, and everybody starts somewhere. Guess where Keply started from? The internet. Looking at internet pimps. He haven't probably ever seen a real pimp in person, ever known a real pimp in person, but he came across the image of a pimp online, and he thought that, hey, I can do this.
thing because I feel like we're all the same, no matter what color we are. But I feel like it's because of my age and because of how new I was to the game that y'all just attacked me for
That
it.
has nothing to do with that. I don't
Really?
Feel like, I don't feel like you're
That's
new to
not what it
shit.
seemed like.
You hate
I don't
white
feel
people.
Like you're, no. I feel like you're not new to shit. I just feel like you're an impersonator for your SoundCloud career. You're not new to shit, nigga.
But bro,
Fuck
I
outta
don't
here.
even focus on.
And that's pretty much what he is. He's an impersonator. If you not really pimping, you know what I'm saying? And you trying to act like you're pimping, you trying to look like you're pimping, you're perpetrating. You're not pimping. Maybe the Keply, the P part is Keply the perpetrator.
You came up in
I
here
focus
talking
on the
about
streets. I focus
you
on
came
getting
in here
money.
talking about you professing old school, and then you was like, we
Yeah.
we actually where you learned this shit from, and then you said, yeah, I watched Sharp on YouTube. Like,
Yeah.
get the fuck out of here,
That's
nigga.
an old
Because
school guy.
It's not
I
some-
have no
it's not some
mentors in
shit
real
you
life.
could watch on.
He ain't have no mentors in real life. So he admitted it. It's like, how you gonna put a title on yourself and you don't even know the rules, regulations, and guidelines of that game? Like, how are you gonna do that? You know, I think if he was really pimping, if he was truly pimping, he wouldn't have had that type of approach. He would have had on like a regular outfit, you know what I'm saying? Something that looked nice and presentable. He wouldn't have like the super fly stereotypic pimp outfit on. He wouldn't do that if he was really pimping, you know? Cause do you see Sharp wearing stuff like that? You know what I'm saying? Only time you see pimps wearing stuff like that if they're a old school pimp, you know? Like these new pimps don't dress like that, you know? But let's go.
On YouTube and in person
And start getting money from
get in
it?
the fucking streets, nigga, and get
What you
some
think
real
I've been doing?
experience.
But
nigga.
what money, getting real experience.
all these
Every day.
drill kids are looking at
Every
older
day.
drill rappers and fucking getting
But they
influenced
really
by that,
outside
right?
drilling though.
He's really outside pimping.
He's not. Nah, really.
He's not.
Really, I brought two bitches.
You see how Adam22 is making a game out of it? It's like, it's just fun and games and content to Adam22. It's like real life really probably doesn't exist outside of making content to him. And that's kind of sad. But let's go.
I never seen none of your bitches.
That don't mean
He
shit.
got some
I
work
never
on the
seen
couch.
None of your bitches.
Right.
None of your bitches.
Because I'm really doing this shit. What the fuck I look like bringing some bitches in here?
Really?
You're a clown,
Well, then you need to
nigga.
prove
You gonna
it.
get
You
life
need to
for this
prove it.
shit. You gonna get life for playing around,
So how
nigga.
am I going?
Alright, just to be fair, Almighty Suspect did start with the name calling. He called him a clown. But I bet you Almighty Suspect was ready to stand on calling him a clown. But let's go.
really
You're
doing
not
this shit.
gonna
What the
get
fuck
life.
do I
Come
look
on
like
now.
bringing
Sounds
some
stupid as
prostitutes
fuck, bro.
in here?
Sounds
Niggas
stupid
get
as
the
fuck.
book through at them
We
for
get
this
money,
shit. This
and
nigga's
you
a
jealous.
clown.
You a fucking
This nigga's
hater,
a
bro.
clown and an
You're a player
impersonator,
hater. You're
nigga.
breaking one of the
Fuck
rules of
out
the
of
game
here,
right
nigga. You're a
there.
clown.
Fucking being
Nigga,
a
you're
player
a
hater.
He said that he's a player hater and he's breaking one of the rules of the game. What? Like, what rule of the game is he breaking? He's being a player hater because he don't believe in your pimping, because your pimping is flawed. That makes him a player hater. So it makes you a player hater when you call out bullshit, you know? And that's why I got the image on YouTube. Like they call me a hater. Like I'm a hater. No, I'm pointing out bullshit. When I see bullshit, I call bullshit. There's nothing wrong with calling bullshit. These new people got the game messed up. These new people think that they should be able to do whatever they want to do and nobody should say nothing to them. Nobody should critique them. And that's not how that go. That's not how that go. You know what I'm saying? If you see somebody doing something that you do, and you see them doing it wrong, ain't you gonna be like, hey man, that's not how you do that. You do it like this. And that's pretty much what's going on. They peep that he is not doing none of that, right? He might got some sluts friends that, you know what I'm saying, probably sell pussy, but he ain't doing no pimping. You dig what I'm saying? He is not doing no pimping. But let's go.
Nigga, fuck out of here.
Nah,
nigga, you're a bum. Nigga, go get some
here,
money,
bro.
nigga. You ain't know nobody track. Mr. Old School, you ain't got no fucking money, nigga. Pull some money out.
He called him a bum as well. So let's just to be fair, like I said, Almighty Suspect did start with the name calling. He did start with the name calling. But I believe Almighty Suspect was ready to stand on whatever he said. So let's go.
Every fucking day I get money, bro.
Nigga,
My bitches get me money. I pull it right out
there. Them bitches dusty as fuck.
Every fucking day, bro.
Them bitches dusty as fuck.
And you ain't got no bitches. You ain't got no fucking bitches.
I'll say that. That's cool.
You ain't got no bitches.
Because when them police watching, I don't have no bitches. I'm a podcaster.
Let me just interrupt real quick.
But wait, where was this energy in the first interview? Little Keply, where was this energy in the first video? Why didn't you have this type of rah-rah when they were ganging up on you? You should have had that type of rah-rah attitude when both Sharp and Almighty, and Almighty really in that interview, he really didn't really say nothing. It was really Sharp screaming on you, but you know what I'm saying? Why you didn't have that type of energy in that interview? You know, maybe they would have respected you at the end after that if you had that type of energy like I stand on this and I, you know, but you kind of just took the verbal whooping like a bitch. But let's go.
When the police
Let me just interrupt real quick.
Yeah, you, bro.
Okay, hold on. People trying to pull that out on Sharp and stuff too. Like, where's your bit? I'm gonna be real. Like, me and Sharp have been in the same group chat for like a couple of years at this point, so I've seen some of the girls that he spends time with. He definitely has some attractive women in his life. I have no idea what their relationship is, but also, you know, you got to respect it. Like, fucking, if I had like all kinds of girls, I would probably try to keep some kind of distance between my professional life and bringing chicks around all my employees and stuff. I mean, I am somebody who lives my whole fucking life on the internet, so it might be kind of different for me, but I mean, just
see, he lives his life on the internet. Adam22's life is content. So you gotta take that with a grain of salt. He's not really gonna take any of this serious, you know. He just think, oh, it's just a way to make content. It's a way to go viral. And I've been trying not to speak on Adam22 because me and Adam22 actually know mutual people. So I kind of don't like to shit on friends of people that I know. So I kind of just not say too much, you know, and I'm not trying to be biased or anything, but you know, just to keep the camaraderie around, you know, our mutual people that we know together. You know, I really won't say what I really want to say about them. I may one day, but it's just not yet, because I'm still trying to understand Adam22. I'm still trying to sort out the rumors of him being a culture vulture or, you know, I'm still trying to sort all of that out, because for me, the mutual friend that we have, you know, I don't think that he would deal with Adam22 if he was, you know, fake, you know, so I'm still trying to understand the Adam22 guy, but let's go.
He don't necessarily. I've seen some women trailing him before.
Niggas
I ain't
really
seen
know.
it.
Nigga, I'm
I
on
ain't seen
tracks.
it.
Boy, fuck out of here,
I ain't never
nigga.
seen no bitches.
Who are you?
I'm Lil
Who are
Kelpy.
you? No
Kelpy
one
the
knows
pimp.
you.
Kelpy the motherfucking
Kelpy the
pimp.
clown.
He didn't even say that with confidence. I'm Kelpy the pimp. Like, come on, bruh. Just stop it. Just say you're Little Kelpy. That's your name. It's like, I'm Kelpy. Nigga, what's wrong with being just Kelpy? Why do you have to be a pimp?
You gotta know who I am,
fuck
bro.
Out of here.
Fucking Ben Franklin knows who I am, bitch.
Fuck out of here.
He knows who the fuck I am. I'm
You
getting
said
money
what?
every day.
He called him a bitch once. Almighty said, who? You said what? Giving him a chance.
Ben Franklin knows who the fuck I am, bitch.
Who you calling a...
He said it again. He reinforced his words and said it one more time.
I'm calling you a bitch.
Then he doubled down on it and said, I'm calling you a bitch. And alright, so you seen what happened. And there's a lot of people out there that is saying all types of things about this situation. There's many different perspectives out there about what happened. On one hand, people are saying that Almighty Suspect is wrong and he shouldn't have reacted like that. You know what I'm saying? He's at his job. You know, Lil Kelpy is a you know what I'm saying, a youngster, and he's small and frail. You know, why would he go at him like that? You know, but with that word, that specific word makes it hard for a person whom you don't know. If you call a person a bitch that you don't know, that word is going to make it hard for the person that is called the bitch to think rational. Because you got to think about this. This is the internet. You know? You don't play with that bitch word. Dudes shouldn't play with that bitch word. You know? I know there's people out there who, with their homies, they play with that word, but they keep it in their circle. They don't go outside their circle playing with other people like that, because that word will get you knocked out. And Kelpy thought that he was going to be able to say that word to him and get away with it. And if he were to have called Almighty a bitch and Almighty didn't do nothing, people would have been all over Almighty. Like, you a bitch. You let that square ass fake pimp call you a bitch. You really a buster. You know what I'm saying? So that's how everybody would have reacted to it if he were to have just like kind of like checked it, like, hold on, homie, don't be doing all of that. Almighty Suspect did what was necessary. He did what was necessary. Law 5 of the 48 laws of power. It states, much depend on reputation. Guard it with your life. And that's exactly what Almighty Suspect did. You had this fraud pimp calling him out of his name, trying to mess up his reputation by calling him a bitch. He had to defend that. So Almighty Suspect was not wrong. Yeah, that's his job. You know, that's where he make his money. At the same time, you gotta preserve your respect. And you definitely can't let no clown like Lil Kelpy disrespect you. You know? And that's all I'm gonna say about that. It's the Gold Mike Podcast, where the mic is gold. And this is a podcast. I'm your host, Mark Paul, and I'm out.